So let's begin. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jean-Paul David, and on behalf of La Fabrique de l'Exportation, I wish you good night. I wish you good evening, and I would like to welcome you to this first webinar of 2026. And for that matter, I would like to wish you all the best for 2026, great success and nice opportunities to all. And so we have the pleasure to having tonight the pleasure and also the privilege to having two guest speakers that will touch on this topic of born global firms. So two perspectives, one from the latest developments in research, and another one from the terrain, one from which is actually used to be a startup or a born global firm. So they will share their perspectives on this. So we have first Antonio Maiocchi and Mr. Lionel Iriban from the company Visionix, and Mr. Iriban will be our second speaker tonight. So Antonio Maiocchi is a professor of international business at Luis University in Roma, and he's also the chair of university there in the Deloitte. I think it's Deloitte chair, and so he's deputy rector for internationalization at Deloitte, chair in international management and global challenges. So everything has to do with research. So it will be a refresh, and these new the latest development in Born Global, and afterwards we will have the pleasure of having Mr. Lionel Iriban, which is Vice President and Director Sales Channel at Visionix, to share with us his experience. So the way we'll go about it is that we will have these two guest speakers first, and afterwards we will have a like a question period, or I would like to say a discussion period, so you can share your comments or ask your questions. Just raise your hand through the system, and then we will be able to have this nice conversation or discussion after these two presentations. So without further ado, I'll ask maybe Antonio to go ahead with his presentation. So the floor is yours, Antonio.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure for me to be here. Really, it's, as we were saying before when we were chatting, waiting for the right time, it's very important for me to have, some kind of confrontation with people which are on the ground, as you said. I try not to be too much on the half, hopefully. And what I want to talk about today, it's Born Global. So Entreprises Born, nouvelles, perspectives pour une interaction rapide. What does it mean? Okay. Let me start with a definition of Born Global. Born Global are defined in the management literature as those companies which are international from the very beginning. So let me read it out. Firms that sell a substantial share of their production to foreign customers rapidly or immediately after start of the business. There are hundreds of definitions. Academics like to discuss about commas and points and things like that. I'll take one definition, which is the one I have used in my paper, but I'm aware there are other kind of definitions. So the definition, in order to define a Born Global, is a company which exports more than 25% of sales before 3 or 6 years. Let me say that a complementary definition is at least in 3 countries. The reason is that if I stay in Ventimiglia and I export in Menton or in Nice, maybe just in Nice is not such a huge export market. So the idea is that you have to, but the main point is this company are an example of a theory which does not hold always. So the theory, when I study export in my early years, many years ago, The story was, if you want to export, you have to start one by one, step by step. You start with a very close country, very similar country. So you are in France, you go to Belgium, you go to Switzerland, you go to country where they speak French, then you move to more distant country, and so on and so forth. You need a lot of adaptation, and this company do not follow this rule, And so many people start in management fields, start to study this kind of company. And the story was more or less the same. Why these companies are so international? And the answer was because the entrepreneurs have an international orientation. They like to go abroad, they are internationally minded, and so on and so forth. Let me underline one thing. It's a theoretical, it's an academic debate, but it's not only an academic debate. There are relevant practical issues linked to this. Let me explain. If we are convinced that the main reason why Born Global are Born Global is because the entrepreneur is internationally oriented, this means that when we train the entrepreneur, the students, the future entrepreneur, we have to tell them, if you want to export from the very beginning, you need an international mindset, okay? And so it's an important point. It's not only a theoretical point. And well, what happens that some years ago, with my co-author, who is French, by the way, is originally from Lille, Jean-François and I, we start looking at some Italian companies, okay? Our goal was to understand why some company has such a high level of export. And we have in front of us small companies, and we come across a number of companies that you can see here, just two examples. One is Pagani. I didn't know at the time Pagani. It's a company that produces less than 40 cars each year, a little bit expensive. This is the cost of the Pagani Utopia 2024, so it costs more than 2 million. The waiting line to have a Pagani is at least 3-4 years. Everything is handmade, so it's not a popular product. It's not a mass market product, okay? And we realized that for them, export was not an issue because it was the client coming to them. So when we talk with them and say, do you need to adapt the product? They told us, no, we make the car and we know that the car is made for someone, but more or less the car are the same. Of course, it's a 2 million product, you can tell me that. Go down, okay? So we look for another company who's cyclot, home bikes, again, an expensive product, but for them was the same. We don't have sales sponsors around the world. We start exporting because people come look at our website, and the word of mouth was about the quality of our product, and so we export very, very, very rapidly in a very short time. So we come up with the conclusion that for some companies, adaptation, which is something that in export analysis is always the main point because it makes sense for a lot of companies, was not always a requirement. That this company has a very limited marketing investment. So marketing is just brand reputation, but it's the client that know the word of mouth. And the reputation was really important. Let me say that I just mentioned Pagani, I just mentioned Cyclot because they are very bright, but I can have example of company, I don't know, we met a company which is called Castelmagno, just made cheese, and they have the same approach. It's high quality cheese, and there are people who are loved all over the world with Castelmagno, and so they have clients from all over the world. So we say, okay, but so export is different if you are a company with mass market production, if you are, I don't know, let me say Ferrero who sell Nutella, or Unilever, Procter & Gamble, producing product who are on the shelves in a supermarket typically, And then there are companies which have a totally different approach. They sold to few customers in each country. The acquisition cost, the searching cost for the clients is very low. And the level of adaptation is extremely low. And they do not need, this is an important point, they do not need direct point of sale in a different market. Because if you do need point of sale in a different market, this requires times, and so fast internationalization is not possible. So we start to think about the factors which allow for fast internationalization compared to the factor that oblige you to take time if you want to export in different countries. And this is a list. I can go quickly through them just to. So we say, okay, if you follow up, let's concentrate on the right part of my table. If you concentrate on a niche market, you probably don't need to spend much time and money to find the sellers. Pagani is well known among the cars lovers. They don't spend money to be better known. And the same go for Seclet, the games go for Castelmagno, and so on and so forth. Of course, this is true if the clients, the customers are well expert in the field, they know, and they spend time to get informed about the product. The transaction is closed in a very easy way. It's take it or leave it the price. There is no negotiation, okay? So if you want a Pagani, you don't go to the dealer and say, okay, give me a discount, blah, blah, blah. No, this is the price. If you want, this is the one. And so there is no, and there is no need to huge market and mix adaptation. If you talk with people selling, I don't know, pasta, Barilla, when I talk to Barilla told me, but no, for us, every country is different. So if you go to France, the product is the same, but we have to adapt the distribution, the marketing, and so on, and even more if we go to the US or China. So for this specific product, adaptation is not a problem. You don't need huge after sales point of sales. You don't need credit, and also the ratio of the price of the product compared to transportation is not an issue. What does it mean? It means that you can stay in your home country and sell through export, because the cost of transportation is so tiny compared to the value of the product that export is a viable alternative. So we start looking at some Born Global around the world. I just mentioned some Born Global that are most famous around the world. De Vialet, it follows somehow this idea. It's high-end audio equipment. I'm not an expert, so I didn't know the company. And the business model is, we have proprietary technology. We are somehow distinctive company, and we target only luxury market. And easily they went to US, UK, South Korea, and China within 5-6 years. So this is a company that follow our idea. Hughes is another company now has been acquired, but it was a huge success at the beginning. They just target fashion addict, located first in Bologna, then in then in Milan, and they start selling high-end fashion product for a very target population of consumers. Last example, when I will finish, by a totally different sector, ARM Holdings, which is much older, but still Born Global and highly quoted in the literature, is a semiconductor company with high technology and very high international orientation. By the way, this is not a consumer company. It's a company whose clients are business. So Born Global are both business to business and consumer, even more, I would say, business to business rather than consumer company. So based on this analysis, we make a research, which is an old research, but I'm quoting 2021, where we look at just Italian companies. We randomly select them, and we collect data for 229 companies. What we found? We found that for 28 out of 38 born global, because not all the company was born global, just a section of them, most of them follow this global niche strategy. So we were a little bit extreme in our conclusion, and we say, okay, it's not entrepreneur, the theory is all wrong, and we found the right key to explain the phenomenon, and the right key is the global niche approach. So if you follow global niche approach, you can be born global. If you know, so the entrepreneur is out of the picture. I think we were a little bit extreme. I mean, it was interesting because we need to be extreme. We want to bring a new idea in the debate. But then we start looking at our companies. Okay, this is just one, which French know better than I do, BlaBlaCar. It was founded by 3 French people. One was a student of ENA, so he was an NLK. And this rings me a bell, say, but you know, ENA, it's a good education, surely, but it's also a good network, to put it politely. And so we start to think about, say, but probably we have to be a little more broad about our explanation. Surely the business model is important, but it's not only the way. So we look at our company. I don't have to go through them because. So what we do in 2021, we say, okay, we just look narrowly to the business model. We still think it's an important aspect, but probably there are other aspects. So we also consider, of course, entrepreneur characteristics, and we also consider other aspects such as the network. The network is, you know, the network of friends, the network of people who study with you, the professional networks that you gain through previous experience in our company, and so on and so forth. And we also realized that we could not forget about the role of the internet, of the web, and so on and so forth. One technical point, which is important because you will see in a minute why that it's and the technical important is about the methodology we use, and the methodology is FSQCA. This methodology allows us a little different kind of approach. When you do quantitative analysis, you generally, let me simplify a little bit, you generally identify some factors. With this kind of analysis, we could identify different paths to the same goal. So we identify 2 different configurations, we call it, that is characteristics of the company, of the entrepreneur, that led to the same result. So you can, if you want to go to the peak of the mountains, you can go from 2 different, you know, sides of the mountains, and or 2, 3, 4 or more. So we try to be a little bit more elaborated and try to identify the 2 configurations. And this is the table that it's at the heart of the paper, which is not still published. We are still working on it, and so let me explain a little bit of the table so it's much clearer. If you see a full a point, a black point, this means that this is a requirement to go to be born global. If it's just an X or a square point, it means that it's not needed or it is irrelevant, does not affect born global. So we identify 2 configurations, we call it configuration, let's say 2 characteristics. So the first configuration is, okay, you have a business model which is based on niche, you have high technology, you use the internet, but you have a very deep network, both professional and social. Social means friends, which allowed you somehow to be international. we identify a second possibility. Say, okay, there are also companies who do not feel it, who does not follow the niche approach. They are not highly technological, but they use internet to distribute, and they rely heavily on networks. So we found two ways to get to, so somehow this picture is a little bit more complex and more elaborated than the previous one. Still, niche is important in our view, but let me make two examples, and I'm heading to the end of this brief presentation. And this is a company that was located in Brescia, in the north of Italy, and they produce smartphone-based retinal imaging system, which I don't even understand what it is, but it looks technological to me. The product is the same all over the world. The founder was an ophthalmologist with a lot of previous experience, and this previous experience allowed him to have a very large network experience. He had no prior international orientation, and he starts selling in France, US, and UK from the very beginning. So this company somehow follow our previous identification of characteristics of a born globe. What about the second configuration? In the second configuration, we found a company selling salads. So no high technology at all, no business model which follow a niche approach. Still very limited country adaptation. The founder, they didn't even speak English, just to give you. But for them, fairs was really, really important, and professional network was really important. So they start selling the product from the very beginning in the Scandinavian market, yes, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark, and were very, 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 very successful. So to come too quickly to the conclusion, we still think that if you want to start exporting from the very beginning, to have a business model which is based on a niche approach, it's a good way. But we realize that also internet it's really helping company to become international, and of course networks that you develop through the years helps a lot. The real conclusion is that we don't have a final and definitive recipe to fast internationalization. There are many ways, and we think that there is still need to do a lot of research. The main limit of our research, which is just based on Italy, and probably a lot of people told me, yes, if you come from Italy, if you come from France, you can base on high quality, especially in some area like food, fashion, and so on, furniture. But if you come from India, probably this is not. So this is the reason why we develop we try to develop new ideas. But I think I take most of my time, so I stop here, and I'm looking forward to hear from the comments of Lionel on the audience. Thank you for your attention, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Antonio, for this very insightful presentation. Interesting. And so we will now go with Lionel. I don't know if you can already share your slides whenever you want.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, thank you. Merci, Lionel. À vous la parole.
Okay.
And so just to remind you, the questions, we'll have a question period at the end for the ones that just connected. And so it will be the moment to ask your questions and share your comments as well. Sorry about that, Lionel.
No problem. You are welcome. Thank you so much. I am very happy to be with you. Thank you, Antonio, for this very nice presentation and very interesting one. I took many notes, and I will try to rebound on what you have explained. And you know, I will start. And sorry, I am French. I mean that I have some English accent. If it's not clear, I am trying to articulate as much as possible. And you know, I will start to rebound on what you have mentioned, Antonio, on your configuration one example. This Italian company who is making tool for ophthalmologists. It's exactly where we are at Visionix, and this is the field of business that I will talk to you today. This is the ophthalmology field of business. Visionix, we are on the right one. Was I have put all the market here just to give you a word on this market is an international world. Why? Because there is only 250,000 ophthalmologists in the world. I just remind you that we are 8 billion people in the world, that more than 5 billion people have what we call disease or problem, visual problem. It means that first, our market is fully global, okay, and I will come back on the business model approach that Antonio mentioned. And us, because we are small and we were a startup 30 years ago, I will come back here also on it. We are only acting in the right side of the slide, you know, the logo in color. This is the Visionix color, what we call chronic disease management. And for everybody, because I know that there is many young people around the table, this is all the product that you can find at the ophthalmology place when they do eye examination. Okay, this is the business. Okay, this is already the conclusion, but this is the key takeaway that I will go through during my presentation. I will explain to you why I consider that Visionix is a born global firm. Good example. First, because you will see that we had a very rapid internationalization. I will explain to you. And to be back on what Antonio mentioned regarding the 6 years, we were even before. After 2 years, we were 100% almost international. Can you hear me? Is it okay? Okay.
Yeah.
And in this, I will explain to you the strategy that we use. As Antonio also mentioned, we are, and you will see, very highly technology company. Okay, this is part of our DNA. And here I will make the link with our founder. As Antonio mentioned during his slide, the importance of the founder is clear in our company. And I will tell you today that we are present all around the world with a partnership with distributors all around the world at this principle that people find us and not us find the customer. And this is also what Antonio mentioned during his presentation. Okay, some word on Visionix. We are still small. We are 250 million euro in 2025. It's not yet published, but I can already disclose. We are in a growing market, but because we are lucky, this market of ophthalmology business is growing. Why? Because the population is growing, because the population getting older, because population like me is eating too much, because some of you are smoker and so on. I mean that we are in a very interesting market with growing naturally. Okay. You can see that we are present all around the world, and we have an approach of the sales today. We have direct and indirect presence. We are present in 8 countries with direct sales force, mainly in Europe, because we are French. I mean that we are very strong in Europe, okay, and less strong internationally. But we have R&D center all around the world, as you can see, and also production facilities all around the world. And we are making some products, as I told you, that you will find at the ophthalmology place mainly. And for some of you who are coming from outside of France, also at optician. And some opticians are starting to use this kind of technology because there is not enough ophthalmologists in the world. Okay, let me spend a little bit more time on our founder, because I think that, as Antonio mentioned, it is a part of, for sure, the success of the company, because he's the first defender and the first promoter of the company, but also by his story and by his strengths. Our president was born in 1961. He's a PhD in applied physics, not at all in coming from the field of ophthalmology. But he has a strong background on research, on technological research. He have a large international social network, okay, very, very strong presence internationally. And when Antonio mentioned that it's important that the entrepreneur has a strong international background or knowledge, I was not so sure about him, but he's a binational guy. He grew up in France, but he went back to Israel. He's an Israeli-French guy. And because he did his PhD in France, but also in US, he has this background that Antonio mentioned, that is already open mind. In fact, our president started with research, and his PhD research was okay, this is not a story, I will tell you the truth. He was sponsored by Reagan president in US. He was sponsored by Reagan president in the 80s or something. In fact, because they wanted to control the satellite, the Russian satellite. They want to destroy the Russian satellite. And in fact, they invested in a technology. It was the PhD research of my president on how to control or to destroy, I will use, but is to control the satellite of Russian to be sure that they cannot look at what's happening in the US. And in fact, he worked in a technology called Shakartman. And in fact, this technology was able to measure the size of the satellite, you know, from somewhere in the globe to the satellite, was able to measure the size of the satellite. And for that, he used a technology called Shakartman. And in fact, after a study, he said, what I will do. And he started to see where his technology can be applied. And this is the starting point of our company. He said, with this technology, we can measure all the eye of human, you know, the power of the eye of the man, and also lenses, you know, that we put on your frame, and contact lenses, and okay. And then he started to develop this technology. I hope that I am clear, but in fact, he started from a technology outside of this field, and after his PhD and some years in the, you understand, in the I will not say army, but in the army business, he moved to set up his own company in 1994 with one patent, one very strong patent, is how to measure the eye, the human eye, okay, in terms of power. And in fact, he started this company with that, and I say we as Visionix, we invest a lot in this technology, even if there were big companies around us, and perhaps you know some name like Carl Zeiss, with a German company very well known in the world of ophthalmology. We in fact continue to develop this asset along more than 10 years, up to we were sure that it's not possible for other companies to use the same technology almost, okay, without infringe our patent. And this is also one of our drivers. I mean that, as Antonio mentioned, we were in a niche at the beginning. In one technology, we can be scalable, only in a niche market, but can be scalable and can be used also by competition to improve their product. Now, how we did our international strategy. It took us 2 years globally to come from a patent, ID, prototype, up to a real product. And in fact, what we have done we have applied I call it Intel Inside strategy. You know, in fact, we bring this technology to competitors, but we put our name in their product. Okay, and immediately, thanks to the big name in the industry, we were in the market and not in the market everywhere in the world. This was phase one of our strategy. It means after 2 years, we were already internationally, not direct, but I will say not hidden fully, but inside the product of competitors. But as Intel, you know, in all computer, you can see Intel. I hope that I am clear. Then, in fact, in 2010, we have decided to go direct. And we said, there is no reason that Visionix doesn't appear as a real player in the world. To do that, we did one acquisition who give us direct market access, first in France, and also in some countries in Europe, they had already some market access, and also a network of distributors in the world under their name. We changed the name of the company, we put Visionix on the top, and we enlarge our portfolio. In 2017, we have made a third step. Okay, we highly made many acquisition and partnership in many key regions like USA, China, Russia, where it was very important to have direct operation. I hope that you can follow. What is today Visionix? As I told you already, you can see that we are fully global. We are in Padova in Italy, okay, because we buy some company also there and we keep the R&D and so on. And as you can see, we are in China, in Taiwan, in the USA, Italy, Israel, France, with different factories. This is also helping us to be close to our customer, okay, and to understand exactly what is happening in every market. But as Antonio mentioned, when we develop one product, we do not adapt. Okay, I mean that the product that we are developing is the same all around the world. Okay, I put on the side the language because an American wants to see English on his product and an Italian wants to see Italian. But beside that, there is no difference with a Visionix product that you can buy everywhere in the world. Just I come back on this timeline. Okay, as you can see, started in 1994 as a startup in a garage. And 2010, first big acquisition, okay, who give us the international view. And I joined the company in 2013. I do not say that it's my impulse, but in fact, I came from another company who my story was I understood that in this business was very fragmented. One way to grow very quickly and rapidly is to make acquisition and to continue to develop. It's what we did. As you can see, and the goal is not to see all the acquisition or partnership that we did, but as you can see, we did it all around the world, focus in USA, Russia, China. As you can see, there is many flags. And I can tell you that we are continuing to do that. Even now, it's a more difficult time because prices are increasing, but we are continuing. This is our strategy to continue to increase and to make some more and more partnership in the world. As Antonio mentioned, we have a strong innovation pipeline. I mean that we started with one technology and for sure we develop a lot of the technology. Each time that we can put this technology in our product roadmap, we are putting it. I mean that today we use it for measuring one eye, measuring lenses, measuring contact lens. Each time that we can duplicate, we duplicate. And this is the base of our success. As I told you, we are selling everywhere. You can see that France turnover is less than 10% of our turnover. Okay. As we told you, we have three how we do the business. On the right of the slide, you can see there is 3 ways to make business: direct sales, indirect sales with distributors, okay, and ODM. It's we continue and we change a little bit the business model. It means that we are making product for others. Okay, it's our technology inside, but we make product for big name for sure. Okay, we are making product for them. Okay, without the mark. I mean that we started with the Intel strategy. Okay, and in 2014 we changed, and now it's a white product, what we call. Okay. What is our ambition? I think that I have to tell you because it's important, and just to tell you the perspective and what we are doing. You understood? We are 8 billion. 5 billion people have disease. There is 250,000 ophthalmologists, but when I look at how many opticians, there is only 500,000, 2 times more. It means that there is not enough people or point of contact, if I may, to address all this high healthcare business. What is our ambition is to spread the technology all around the world now with also a specific ecosystem. And it means that our goal is to put machine for French people like Aflelou did and started to communicate in France, and you saw on a TV journal, and you put machine at the optician shop, and remotely there is an ophthalmologist who is providing you a diagnostic or an analysis. Okay, we are covering all the main problem in the optical world. This is our strong ecosystem. It means that we are able to connect all the machines in the world, and it means that we can make eye examination from any point. It means that today you can be behind the machine in France and a doctor in USA if the time zone is okay, and the time difference is manageable. There is no problem for him to make you a comprehensive eye exam. It means that deliver a pair of glasses, contact lenses, or even diagnose something that you have on your eye. What is our next step? US is the biggest market in the world in our business. It means that in the next future we want to continue to deepening our presence in USA, for example, but not only. China also is a big country, and you know that because we are talking about sales, you know that in our industry, or you don't know, but I am telling you that in our industry, in China, they close the market. It means that if you do not produce in China and you cannot sell in China, they make a big barrier in regulation in order to facilitate Chinese company. Okay. I mean that we are also looking to partnership more in China. As I explained to you, we are moving now from product to ecosystem. Okay, we are not only as we did 30 years ago as a unique product, but we have wide product portfolio plus now ecosystem. And for sure, we have a strong push to orchestrate the global presence all around the world. We are already everywhere. Now the step that we are doing is to move a distributor from, I will say, €500,000 turnover to 2 or 3 million. It means that we should help them to develop their business. And I hope that was clear because it's a very technical topic. But to conclude, I think that Visionix is answering and is a good example of what Antonio explained. We are expert buyer. We are in a niche market. There is not many conditions. I mean that the price is inelastic, as Antonio mentioned. There is no elasticity here. Okay, we are making our condition. For sure, when we are in front of Italian, we need to negotiate a little bit, but globally, overall, there is no negotiation. We are in the B2B business, you understand, there is no B2C. I will not come back on the price of the transportation, but it's clear also. And the entrepreneur mindset, you understood, our entrepreneur was highly technology, is still very highly technological guy. He is a fully international person with a strong international network. Okay, I hope that I was clear.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Lionel, for this clear and very interesting presentation. It's always interesting to see an actual case, a practical case, and for that matter, also the evolution of the strategy over time across borders, particularly interesting. So thanks to both of you. And so, I guess we are ready to go into the question period or the discussion period. So you just have to raise your hand and to just to say for whom your question is intended. So the floor is to anyone that wants to ask a question or maybe share a comment. Camille, Benedetto.
Hello,
So,
everyone.
yep.
Yes, thank you so much for this presentation. My question is for Mr. Majowski. It was really interesting about the theoretical parts, and I was just thinking maybe that because you talked about finding the recipe for born global companies, and is it really relevant is a strong word, but is it really relevant to try and find a recipe when maybe there are a lot of factors and sometimes it's just maybe about get lucky sometimes and just a lot of factors, different factors that are that have to be taken into account?
Very challenging question. Thank you very much. You don't have to explain to me that luck is important. You know, being Italian, I'm extremely suspicious and extremely. I pay a lot of attention to luck, but this is something you cannot control by definition. And my answer is yes. It's important to define the factor for many reasons. One reason, put yourself in my shoes. You know, I am a business. We are also in Jean-Paul David shoes. I mean, it's important to discuss because if it's only luck, there is nothing we can do. So in the business school, in my courses, I say, okay, you will be born, you will be a high exporter, not exporter, but it's at the end of the day, it's just luck. Of course, you say, but there are so many different factors that I don't think there are so many factors. At the end of the day, the factors are 4, 5, 6, 7, something like that. And probably there are different configurations. I think my expectation that in the end of the research, we will find 3, 4 different configurations. So you can reach the peak of the mountain from different paths, from different roads. But also think of public money. You are the Chamber of Commerce, you are a regional authority, you want to improve the export performance of your company, maybe of the founders, of people that just make a startup. What is important? It's important to give them the possibility to go to fair. It's my experience say yes, it's an important factor. Research, Lionel just talked about their experience. The founder of the company has a PhD in physics. So you see, probably he needs some help in transferring his knowledge in technology into business. So, but I think it's important to define, and I think it's something we can do for teaching in business school, for regional and national and European promotion policies, and also for the founder itself. I mean, there are some factors which are really relevant. So it's not important to invest in this kind of things. And so I think it's important and it can be done. But it's a question open to debate. I totally agree with you.
Thank you.
Laurent,
Yes, good evening, gentlemen, and thank you for both of you for your presentation. Just a quick comment. It's not luck, it's opportunism often. Antonio, if I may comment, there are more and more born globals coming from emerging markets. I mean, usually they came from small open economies like the Nordic countries or the western part of the world, but more and more you get some Indians, some Chinese, big countries. Why? Because it's more easy for them, or let's say there is more profit to be made outside of the home country than in the home country. Like I know somebody in India who told me, you know what, to cross the road is already difficult enough. So don't think about selling something too advanced. Now I will start with Europe, we'll start with the US, and then I will move back to my country. So as a way to enlarge your base of research, maybe if I can suggest, and I'm also a researcher, by the way, we should look more into this kind of emerging big countries markets, because there are more born global players coming, and they have access to the same technology as we do. They have access to the same skills and sometimes the same money, or at least they can channel money differently. And that's a way to enlarge our base of knowledge, to look at them more cautiously, actually.
Well, I totally agree. I mean, it's a comment I can. What I can tell you is I have similar comment from Italian entrepreneurs. Sometimes they told me it's much more easier to sell to Germans than to other Italians by many point of view. They are more reliable as clients, they pay you on time, and so, and again, yes, I know. The problem of emerging market, from my point of view, is only to collect the data. What I'm trying to do is to develop a partnership with. I'm working with Fudan University in China, and we are trying to collect the data, but I have to totally rely on them for the collection, because the language is a barrier in this case.
Okay. And Jean-Paul, if I may have a question for Lionel?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure,
Lionel, how is internationalized the team of your company? I mean, how many different nationalities, different languages do you speak at headquarters? How much of the global world do you have integrated in your team? And do you look for specific project or profile, sorry, when you hire people? How is the globalization part of your team?
Yeah, very good question, Laurent. Very interesting. And you know, at the beginning, 10 years ago, the 90% of the team was from France, or let's say Europe. Okay. Today is not anymore the case. Okay. We have people from Brazil, from India. We have 25 different nationalities in the company. I mean that we have Malaysian people. You also countries that you I will not say you do not imagine, but I will say not only big countries. Okay, for sure we have Chinese, Taiwanese, but we have also Australian, Malaysian, Korean. Yeah, we are now many nationality, and this is important because as we are thinking global, we want to be sure that we have many representative as we can, and native speaker.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
By the way, Laurent, you just shared with us in the chat box a book you just published on. You have some cases of born global firms. So
yeah, exactly. I've been lucky to contact 50 companies from 33 countries, and I agree with Antonio. It's difficult to find them, to select them, to make sure. But no, it was a real pleasure to hear the stories, and yeah, it was definitely nice. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. There's Magdalene, I think, has a question.
Thank you for the presentation. I wanted to ask, based on the Visionary case, do you think that the global niche strategy is still something that's is doable today, due to the fact that there's the AI coming forward, all the digital tools, so the information is moving rapidly internationally. So do you think that it's still doable, possible to build your company around a global niche?
Okay, if I understood well, yes, it's still doable. You know, today, as I told you, our market is not so big. Huh? I mean that there is 250,000 customers, Okay, there is a little bit more hospital because you know that people are working with some delegation. I mean that they have also people who are helping them. Today, no. There is not so many players. Okay, in fact, there is not so many players. Also, I mean that when I look, there is 200 company maximum in our field of business. Okay, from startup to a big firm. And not everybody can reach the global reach. Not everybody can have the global reach because their technology or their price doesn't fit very well. I mean that no, it's still possible.
Okay, thank you.
Just one comment on this. When Lionel talked about the number of ophthalmologists around the world and the number of competitors, for me was really music, because one of the definition we use to be to have a nice a niche strategy is, can you number the numbers of competitors? Can you do you have a number for the number of clients? And if you have a number that you have an idea of, for me was a niche. And I mean, and so when you know how many, you have a limited number of competitors and a limited number of potential clients, that's a good definition of niche for me. And so we didn't negotiate before, I can assure you, trust me, but it was really going in the same direction we did. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Comments? Otherwise, I have one for Lionel and another one for Antonio. So let's start with Lionel. What I found interesting in your presentation was that you mentioned at some point that the company bought out another company, and I heard that all right, is that it actually accelerated your internationalization by buying out that company. Was it a result of their networks that you actually acquired as you were taking over the?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Correct. In fact, in 2010, we had the opportunity to buy a company who were almost in bankruptcy, third generation company. The first guy is building, the second one starting to die, and the third one collapse. And in fact, but it was an international company. And with this acquisition, he make up fully international with our name. And this was the real accelerator.
I see. That's interesting. It also plays into the idea of the business model is a factor, an interesting factor into the speed of internationalization. Okay. Yeah, the mode of entry actually is important to account for. Thanks for that explanation. Antonio, I was wondering, I was looking at these two configurations, and I was wondering if, I don't know, maybe for future research, do you think there's some room for eventually breaking down either one or the other configuration into maybe expand the typology? And because if we say niche, a niche market, is it only about high-end products, or is it could be something else? Is there a room you think maybe we can make some hypotheses about that? But I don't know if you ever thought of.
No, we are already going in that direction. We think that the two configuration is still limited. We are collecting data. We think the salad example I made, the sellers of salad, for me was really, I'm not saying shocking because shocking is too much, but we were really surprised because we have this idea that only, high technology, PhD in physics, like Lion told us, you could be born global. And then these two persons, they didn't even speak English. They just speak a local Venetian dialect, and but they were really smart. Really, they rely on a network of people and on the internet. And so there are many ways to let's put it this way. There are many roads to go to Rome, and So we are exploring it, and surely it's not only technology and not only niche. We stress, I told you maybe, we stress the niche approach because nobody was talking about it. So we try to say, no, this is important, this is important, this is important. Now that more people around the world are convinced that niche is important, we can be a little bit more relaxed and less extreme in our conclusion. We were too much extreme. I agree.
Yeah, well, thank you. It already sheds more light on this concept that we've been talking about for 30 years. So it's already right from there. It's very interesting. So we can take more questions or comments from the floor. Yes, Buki.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for the two interesting presentation here. And I really appreciate that. So I got one question to Professor Matsuuchi. So do you think the geopolitical tension will drive the path and the speed of internationalization of these born global firms? That is the first question. And the second comment is about the niche market. So I think I totally agree with you that the niche market is a big factor for understanding the born globals. And I think there's so many niche markets will be appeared once the trend of in global economy shift to the AI sector and the sustainable development goals that initiated by United Nations. So do you think that will impact on the trajectory and path of these born globals, or is there any comment on that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The first question, the first comment you made is something I should have reported at the very beginning. So thank you very much to raise the question. Geopolitical tension. Surely geopolitical tension do not facilitate born global, but still, I mean, there is a lot of trade. The European Union just signed an agreement with India, one with Mercosur, one with Canada. So from a European perspective, a lot of market, but also from, I don't know, when I talk with my colleague in Beijing or in Shanghai, for them also the world, it's of course, there are some areas which are becoming more and more difficult for Europeans to go to Russia. I guess Lionel had some issue there, some French banks, some Italian banks. So it's a problem. I don't think it's finished. This is a question I ask myself every day because I am a professor of international management. So if there is no export and no foreign direct investment, I can only retire then and my work is done. So I hope I am right in this answer. Concerning the new technological advancements, the new goals by sustainability goal, they create hundreds of opportunity, I think. I'm not an expert of AI, but when I have a research project with Fudan University in Shanghai, I talk with them, and they have a lot of projects, not only on AI, but on company which specialize on specific aspect of AI, which I cannot name because I don't understand, it's not my field, but there are, and in Europe, there are hundreds of niche company in the sustainability area, I would say, and there is still room for that. So I don't think Born Global is finished. I think there are opportunity, and so it's worth investigating from my point of view. Also because, let me finish, for another thing that I don't remember if it's Jean-Paul or Leon who mentioned or Laurent, for a lot of company to be international, it's really more profitable than being just domestic. You find higher prices, better clients, so it still remains important, to generate the cash flow that you need in the very first 3 years, 6 years of your company. So I just see a company in the north of Italy who is specializing hematology consulting, and they have clients all over the world. I don't think they even don't want the Italians, because payment by hospital in Italy take a lot of times, and so there is room for this, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that idea goes along with the the idea of if it's a niche market, if you don't have many customers in your country, you have to cross borders to cover the fixed costs to at least achieve your reach that break-in point and even achieve economies of scale. So you have to expand. Thanks. Any other comment or question? Yes, Fatima.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
So good evening, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Antonio and Dionette, for your presentations. It was very, very interesting. I'm in the domain of academic field of international entrepreneurship, and I had worked in my PhD on born globals in emergent countries, especially in Morocco. So I have a question which concerns the local ecosystem and the nature of the context where these born globals are from. Is if you think that the nature of the context and nature of the ecosystem can affect the expansion, the level of expansion, and the level of speed of these born globals, and how that can happen. Thank you.
I don't know if Ilana want to say something. Oh.
Please go.
Well, the first part of the question for me is easy. In my previous paper, we insert as a variable the average percentage of export in the region, and we found that the same founders in terms of characteristics in two different regions with two different attitude and network toward export makes things extremely different. So the location of the founder is extremely important. The location of the company is extremely important. To be located in some area makes things not much easier than others. So the first part of my question is yes. Surely to be located in the area makes a lot of difference for many different reasons. And also the data are very clear from this point of view. Which are the factors that this is a little bit more difficult, and if you're doing a PhD, this is something which I think is really interesting and worth exploring. Why in some area it's much more easy. To put it simply, I would say to be in a context which is highly export oriented. So with a lot of companies which already export, make your life easier. You have the contact, people know how to the market, but sometimes also it just focus on one technology, one product. So I would say there are too many, and my second paper, the one I presented today, show that this social network and professional network are really important. So some chamber of commerce, which in France are really important, for example, can really make an impact. So also institution can make. To make an example, if you go to Brianza, which is the area north of Milan, nobody knows it, but if you go in that area north of Milan, you find hundreds of companies in high-end furniture. And there is a focus on the product, a focus on the technology, and everybody, as soon as they create a new product, they try to sell all over the world because the price is so high that the number of clients in Italy is too low. So yes, to make it short, yes, it's very important, but still we need to know much more. So this is something which, if you're doing a PhD on Born Global, it's very interesting to you.
I had my PhD on born globals. Now I'm in a postdoctoral research in Laval. So and I had in my results the same similarities and differences at the same time. entrepreneurs has or had some similarities on concerning, for example, networking, the capability to network, the international experience, etc., etc. But the some factors that that are contextual and specific to the context with or in which this born globals are raised, are developed, and I think it's also the nature of the public strategies can play a role in the international orientation of small and medium enterprises in international markets. It's the same thing in the Italian market or in the French market also, or it's
No,
different?
I think it is. No, I think it's the same, of course. I see Lionel also want to raise his hand.
Because I think it's a very interesting, Fatima, question and remarks. And I wanted to rebound on what Antonio mentioned. In our field of business, the ophthalmology business, we can see that when the entrepreneur is born in China or in India, there is a big potential or big chance that he will start global immediately. Okay. Not only the social network with, you know, that there is Chinese and Indian all around the world, and this is playing a role, but I would like here to mention that the role of what you call public, I think, or government. If I talk about China, for example, there is for sure a strong push from the government to push you to be global immediately. Okay. It's true in the ophthalmology business, but I think it's true also in the car industry, in other industry. And I have example of company with entrepreneur in Latin America, and I can tell you that they did not receive the same support versus India or Chinese that I mentioned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Vous pouvez les poser en français aussi, hein, et puis on traduira, il n'y a pas de souci. Okay. Okay, so I guess that we covered many of the topics. Is well, I just what's left, I can just maybe ask. I don't know if Sylvia wants to maybe make an announcement, or we're good on that side.
Yeah, sure. Well, I would like just to invite everyone to join to our next event, which will be in less than a few weeks. Actually, it's going to be in about 10 days or so. And the first one is going to be on February the 12th, and it's going to be about Venezuela. It's not a masterclass. It's gonna be the format of the débat du commerce international with Alain Bentejac and the participation of Henri Jacques Citroën. So that is February the 12th at 6 o'clock. And then a week after, on the 19th, we're gonna have Antoine Bouet of CEPI that is gonna give us another debate on the result of the international trade result of France 2025. So February the 19th at 12:30. So we're gonna send the invitation soon in the next days.
Nice program to come. Thank you very much. So I'd like to thank again our guest speakers, Lionel, Antonio, for these insights and your participation, and everybody that took part of this interesting webinar. Thanks again and again. Have a good year, good 2026. Looking forward to seeing you on Feb the 12th, the next time, for another event.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank
it was
you.
really a pleasure
Thank
for
you.
me. Thank you.
Thanks.
See you soon. Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.